Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of How Beginner Friendly Is, where I try out a brand new killer for the very first time, starting all the way from scratch. How challenging are they to master as a new player? How do they play when you don't have access to all the perks and add-ons? And most importantly, how fun are they to play? That's what we will try to find out in this series. But before we get into today's episode, let's go over the premises of this series one more time. Number 1. For the first 3 perk slots unlocked, I'm only going to use the killer's original perks. Number 2. For the last perk slot unlocked, I will only use perks that are universal to every killer. That means perks I have previously unlocked from, let's say, the Shrine, is not usable in this context. Number 3. I'm starting at basically 0 blood points to get the most authentic experience. That means for the first match I will be starting with only 1 perk and absolutely no add-ons at all. Number 4. I will play a total of 10 matches with every killer. How many levels I gain on the way and the perks and add-ons that I get is out of my control, and if you will do the same as me, your experience will be different from mine. And number 5. I will not read up on any killer beforehand. I'm going in blind as best as I can. So today's killer is Sadako, the Onryo, or as some might call her, Samara. She is the newest killer to be introduced to the game not that long ago. This is a killer I was quite excited to play as she seems so different to all other killers. I don't know why I feel that, but maybe it's because I feel she is somewhat of a jack of all trades. She has some stealth elements, she has map traversal, her own Mori through Condemned, and some really cool animations. I don't know much about her perks though, so I'm quite excited to see what they do, as well as her add-ons. So let's just go right ahead and look at the perks. Her first perk is Scourgeshook Floods of Rage. I do like Scourgeshook perks, so this could be fun. What this does is, when a survivor is unhooked from a Scourgeshook, all survivors are revealed for a certain amount of seconds. That sounds kind of neat actually. Her second perk is called Call of Brine. As of lately I have seen a lot of players using this perk on so many killers and builds, so I guess this must be good. After damaging a generator, the perk is active for 60 seconds. In that time, the generator will regress for a certain percentage. The generator will be highlighted in yellow and you will get notifications every time a survivor makes a good skill check. This sounds quite good though I was a bit confused about how this actually worked. The last perk is called Merciless Storm. Now, this is a perk I've experienced a lot as a survivor, especially after the release of this killer not that long ago. When a generator reaches 90%, the survivors will face continuously skill checks, and if they fail that, the generator will be blocked for a certain amount of seconds. As for these 3 perks, this is what I was least excited about, since I feel most survivors have adapted to this perk at this point, as well as being expected when facing the Onryo. Now let's check out her power. She has 2 different abilities. She has the ability to demanifest, making her somewhat stealthy in the sense that she has no terror radius while demanifested, but the survivors can briefly see her going in and out of visibility at a certain distance. While demanifested, she has the ability to teleport to TVs that are spread out throughout the map. When you teleport to a TV, that TV will be shut off for a certain duration, though it doesn't say for how long. The survivors can also turn off the TVs, but doing so they will hold a tape in their inventory, slowly increasing the Condemned level. To get rid of that, they need to insert the tape into another highlighted TV on the map. If the survivors get fully condemned, the Onryo have the option to Mori them with her own special Mori. Even though her power sounds somewhat simple, there are quite a few things that is challenging to understand. which I would find out throughout the evening. I chose Scorch Hook Floods of Rage as my go-to perk, and since I prefer the Onryo looking like this, we are good to go. First match of the evening awaits. For the first match we are in Yamaoka Estate. You start every match demanifested, so you have the perfect opportunity to get the first hit in quite fast, if you are able to stay out of sight until you get close to the survivors. As in all first matches, this was a testing ground for the abilities, and I had to get the hang of the teleportation and when to manifest and demanifest. I was manifested way too much in this game, as in there is no reason to not demanifest as you don't move any slower while demanifested, but you have the advantage of no terror radius. As for the first match went, this was really good. We got a 4K and I have to say, god damn, this killer is fun to play. We got some new add-ons now, and the add-ons are somewhat easy to understand, and I do feel like most add-ons actually have some use, so it's not hard to pick the right add-ons for the build that you want to go with. Well, for the second game we went to the Auto Haven Wreckers, and let's just say, it won't be the last time this evening. I didn't get the best start in this game, and the gens was popping while I kept chasing survivors around. I did get quite lucky with the Scorch Hooks though, and most survivors got hooked on one of those. And yeah, the Scorch Hook really helped. This match, all in all, was really intense. We got down to 1 gen left and 3 survivors. I tried to protect the last gen as best as I could, and in the end I did succeed and got the 4K. And I have to say, I freaking love this kind of matches that seems quite even, and where I need to play every second of the endgame as good as possible to be able to win. I love the intensity of these types of matches. Well, we already unlocked our second perk, and I chose Call of Brine for this one. I wanted to wait with Merciless Storm because, as of all the perks, that was the one perk I probably would get the least amount of effect from. In the third game we are back in Auto Haven Wreckers, and oh man, this was a completely different team than the ones I met before. Do you remember when I said the endgame in the last game was intense? Well, this entire match was intense and I freaking loved it. It was quite clear that this was a Swift team, as there was always someone with a flashlight nearby when I picked up a survivor, and even a pellet save. As for the whole game, it was basically non-stop from the first minute, and it went like that all the way to the end. I would have never thought I would perform this well in this match, but in the end I got 3 kills and the last survivor escaped through the hatch. But all in all, I was really satisfied with this game, and to the survivors, really good job. Well done. I still have a lot of learning to do though. I still wasn't quite sure what Call of Brine did, and I was still not used to that you are manifested when you come out of the TVs. That confused me a lot, as well as being manifested way too much throughout the matches. As the last match was so intense, I didn't really pay attention to any of this, so that was the focus in the next few matches. And for the fourth game we are in the Backwater Swamp. In this match I got a really good start with a free grab just seconds into the game. All in all, it was a good start with 3 hooks and a few injured survivors before the first gen even popped. So after that the gens kept popping, but I still felt I could hold the gen pressure up. But in the end, it ended up being a 4K. Which means that so far we have had 3 4Ks and 1 3K with hatch escape. Now that is impressive compared to my other new player experiences so far. So with sky high confidence I went into the 5th match. Whoop whoop! Oh, fluff. I hate this map, and I can't possibly see this being a good map for this killer. And guess what? I was 100% right. In under 4 minutes we were down to 1 gen left. After under 6 minutes, the game was over. I didn't stand a chance and all the survivors escaped. Still, no new perk slots, so let's just dive right into the next match. And guess what? We are back at Autohaven Wreckers. Again. Jesus. This time I met a team that worked quite well together and I didn't have the best start in this match either. The team was unlucky with having someone DC quite early in the match though, and as I would find out later, this was a party of 3 and the person DCing was not a part of the group. So unlucky for the survivors. But considering they played most of the match 3-manned, they did really good. We actually got down to 1 gen left. I had a funny moment in the end though, as I was demanifested I found the hatch, but instead of closing it I accidentally teleported to another TV. And guess what? I found the last survivor doing so. It was totally intentional of course. After the match I unlocked my 3rd perk slot, and I also got a visit from the 3 survivors that played the last match, and they were so good sports and so nice. And it's moments like this that truly shows how nice and wholesome this community can be if you just allow it to be that way. Be nice to each other, compliment each other when someone plays well, as a streamer be a positive role model for your community. It is moments like this that makes this game so great. Thank you so much to the survivors and GG. With all that said, let's get into the next match. And we are now in Haddonfield, a map I'm still not used to at all, but it's a nice change to all the games in Autohaven. And I just make this short. They played really good. I got my ass handed to me. They all escaped. Well played survivors, well played. So let's see if we can get ourselves a bit of a comeback here. For the 8th match we went to Coldwind Farms, one of my favorite map tiles. The mission for this match was to get a condemned Mori. I got a really good start with 2 down survivors within a minute. The survivors did a good job throughout the match, but I'll be honest, so did I. I felt I had the match under control for the most parts, and guess what? We got the condemned Mori. Sweet! It ended up being a 3k with 1 person escaping the hatch. And all in all, it was a really good match. Still no new perk slot, so let's get into the 9th match. And once again we are at Coldwind Farms. Twice in a row. I can like that. I had a good start here as well, though I don't know what some of the survivors were doing to be honest. But later into the game I could see that these survivors were clearly better than the ones I faced before. They worked really well together, and even though I got plenty of hooks, everyone escaped in the end. Good job, team. I unlocked my last perk slot, but I decided to try to go for the Adept challenge, so I actually didn't slot any perks in this one. I barely had any perks to choose from anyway, so it wouldn't probably make such a big difference. And for the last match we are in... God damn. This map again. Well, I had to gather everything I've learned so far this evening. When to teleport, where to teleport, being demanifested, watching Call of Brine, be aware of auras of survivors when they get unhooked from the Scourge Hook, taking advantage of the Onryo small size in loops. And we did good. And for a long time the game was down to 1 gen left and 4 survivors still standing. But in the end I killed 3 of them and the last one escaped the hatch. So all in all, this was a really good final match for me. And with 10 matches in our pockets, let's wrap up this video with a verdict on the Onryo. First of all, I have to say, this killer has by far been the most fun killer I've played so far in this series. Even more fun than the Doctor. But the fun factor aside, she also performed really well in most matches, and even though she doesn't have that much to bring to like the anti-looping, she can excel in other areas like catching survivors by surprise, traversing the maps and have some sort of gen pressure. It also helps that the game puts most TVs next to generators. So for the big question, how beginner friendly is the Onryo? I would have to give her a 5 out of 10, and this is why. She has a power that is easy to understand how it works, but quite hard to take fully advantage of, especially if you consider the condemned element and how you can use teleports to increase that, for example. Also, I find it so confusing that I had to demanifest to teleport to a TV, but was manifested when I came out the other end. That took a long time to get used to, and I messed that up many times. Her starting perks are all very interesting in their own way and can absolutely be of good use to a new player. You have both aura reading and gen pressure with those starting perks. They are somewhat easy to understand and easy to use. I would definitely give her a 9 out of 10 when it comes to fun, and would recommend everyone to at least try this killer out. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Whoop whoop!